What's up, duelists? MD here, and today I have a very awesome deck profile for you guys. It is going to be a Dark Magician Girl deck profile. Yes, with the release of the Dark Side Dimensions movie set, we finally got that Dark Magician Girl support that so many fans of duelists out there have been waiting for. And honestly, the deck is very fun to play, can make some surprises, and it's actually really good. And some of the stuff in here is definitely going to help out the Dark Magician archetype once the Dark Illusion comes out this week. So I just wanted to give you guys a little brief intake on my version of the deck. Now, there's a couple ways you can play this deck. One of them being the Fusion way with Ayatamias, which this is not that version, mainly because Ayatamias is currently way out of my budget range. Though when Dragons of Legend Unleashed come out and Ayatamias has been confirmed reprint there, I might give it a try, but it's not something that's going to make the deck better. It's just another version of the deck. So enough of me rambling around, and we're going to get right into the deck profile. Now, first off, how can we call this a Dark Magician Girl deck profile? Without 3 copies of the cute little student that everyone seems to love. And it's got the neat little effect where it gains 300 attack for every Dark Magician or Magician of Black Chaos in either player's graveyard. Now, the Magician of Black Chaos currently isn't really relevant, but once Dark Magician stuff comes out, that deck is going to be everywhere just because it is such an iconic deck. And having this in that actual deck and just using this as the only deck in general will be pretty good, because there's going to be Dark Magician in their graveyard, and this one's going to gain boost for that as well. So, very nice little card. Almost practically everything in the deck is rolled around this little girl right here. So, put that to the side. And next up, it's going to be 3 copies of Chocolate Magician Girl. This is one of the many amazing support cards for the Dark Magician Girl archetype that we got in the movie set. And I personally feel, I know I said this in my previous video with the Dark Side Dimensions opening, but this card I believe is going to be a major help in the Dark Magician deck itself. But here's what it does. Once per turn, you discard a spellcaster from your hand to draw 1 card. And whenever this card is targeted for an attack, you can special summon a spellcaster from your graveyard. You change the attack to that spellcaster, and your opponent's attacking monster's attack points are halved. So almost all the time when this card's attacked, and say you have a Dark Magician Girl in the graveyard, target for attack, special summon, the attack goes here, and your opponent's monster's attack is halved. So very good there. But it does say spellcaster, so it does not have to be a Magician Girl. It could be any spellcaster you have whatsoever. And that's just going to come in very much handy once you guys see all the other spellcasters I have. But 3 copies is this because you always want to see this card first turn. And if you don't see this card first turn, the other card you would want to see on turn 1 would be Berry Magician Girl. Run 3 copies of this card as well. Like a little toddler kind of card, but very good. Because whenever you normal summon it, you can search your deck for a Magician Girl and add it to your hand. Also, it's got the awesome effect during either player's turn when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets Berry Magician Girl, or when she's targeted for effect, you could swap her to defense position and summon a Magician Girl from your deck. So it could be the Chocolate Magician Girl, Dark Magician Girl, any of the Magician Girls whatsoever, except for Berry Magician Girl, obviously. So yeah, very good card overall. This and Chocolate are the 2 cards you want to have turn 1, because that's just how you get everything set up for your plays. Alright, moving right along. Next card, going to run 3 copies of Kiwi Magician Girl. Now this card is very good. It is a very powerful card indeed. You discard this card from your hand during either player's turn, and all of your Magician Girl cards gain 300 attack for every different Magician Girl on the field and in the graveyard. So even something as this little Berry Magician Girl could have attack of close to 2,000, if not passing over 2,000 attack, with just a Kiwi Magician Girl right here. And this is not just once per turn. You can activate this multiple times. So if you have 2 Kiwi Magician Girls, you can activate 2 of them. You can activate both of them and still get in 300. And then another 300 for each. So yeah, this can help you set up some crazy OTKs right here. Like I said, if even the little Berry could gain over 200, imagine what a Dark Magician Girl can gain from that. So very powerful card indeed. And it's also got the effect that while it's on the field, your Magician Girl cards cannot be destroyed by card effects or targeted by card effects. But tongue tied there, apologize for that. So very good card overall. Put that to the side. Next up, I run 2 copies of Lemon Magician Girl. Now, Lemon Magician Girl, believe it or not, was actually the first Magician Girl that was announced for the whole archetype. And what she does is, when this card is targeted for an attack, you could special summon a spellcaster from your hand, like say Dark Magician Girl, but the effects are negated. But it also has the same effect as Chocolate Magician Girl, where the attack is changed to this target and the opponent's attacking monster is halved. So just about almost all the time, they're gonna get knocked out with this effect. And she also has the effect of where she could tribute a spellcaster on the field to search off a Magician Girl. Yep, search off a Magician Girl, and very, very good overall. Again, what's interesting, this was the first Magician Girl ever announced, and I thought it was pretty good. I couldn't wait to see what all the other ones have. So, only 2 copies of her. No need for 3, because you have everything else in the deck, but still a very, very good card overall. And last up for the Magician Girls, it's going to be 2 copies of Apple Magician Girl. Now, Apple Magician Girl is similar to Lemon Magician Girl, onto where she could special summon a spellcaster from hand, but it has to be a level 5 or lower. Though on the good side, the effects are not negated. And the same rules go. The attack changes to that, and attack is half. So, you know it's a pattern there. They do that with a lot of different cards in the deck. But, what's cool is that when this card is destroyed by battle and card effect, you could target up to 3 other Magician Girls with different names in your graveyard and put them all back to your hand. So, you could set this card, say if you have a lot of Magician Girls in your graveyard, it gets destroyed. Boom, you get 3 Magician Girls from the graveyard into your hand, just like that. So, 2 copies of Apple Magician. Now, Dark Magician Girl is grown. She can hold her own now, but she still needs her teacher around to help her out sometimes. So I run 2 copies of Dark Magician. Love this movie artwork right here, by the way. It looks amazing. Now, 2 copies of Dark Magician for a couple of reasons. One, just so she can gain the little bit of a power boost whenever Dark Magician is in the graveyard. But also, Dark Magician works with just about all of the other Magician Girls, almost all of them. She works with Chocolate, and she works with Lemon. Now, even though Lemon says that the effects are negated, it does not have to be an effect spellcaster, because it specifically says, if any effects, they would be negated. So, does not have to be an effect monster. It could be a complete normal spellcaster like Dark Magician. So, Lemon's attacked, get out Dark Magician, effects would be negated, but no effects, and you still get to change target and the attack half. So that's one of the reasons I run Dark Magician. But overall, you can't really run Dark Magician Girl without Dark Magician. Vice versa, you can't run Dark Magician without Dark Magician Girl. That's just how I feel. So 2 copies of the original teacher himself, and also running 1 copy of Platinum Oracle Mahad. Very, very interesting card. Whenever you draw this card, outside of the original 5 cards you draw, might I add, you can reveal it and just special summon it off the bat. It's got the same stats as Dark Magician, 25 attack, 21 defense. And what's really, really cool is that whenever this battles a dark monster, this card's attack is doubled. So, and there is a lot of dark monsters in the meta currently, so definitely comes in handy. And it's got the really cool effect. Now, when this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can summon a Dark Magician from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So, very, very cool card overall. And even though if you do happen to draw this card within your first 5 cards, it's not completely dead, because you still have the Magician Girls to use their effects to get them out and summon. So, very, very cool card indeed. And last up for the monsters, I am running 2 copies of Dark Magician of Chaos. Same reason as I'm running Dark Magician in here, just because it goes well with all the other cards. Now, this is an effect monster, so if you summon this out with Lemon Magician Girl, the effects of this card will be negated. But there's plenty of other ways to summon her out, like say Chocolate Magician Girl. This is the one that you would want to summon out the most with, is Chocolate, because you could just have this card targeted by battle. I'm sorry. Then summon this from the graveyard. Change the attack to this, it gets destroyed, but because of Dark Magician's effect and it does not get negated, that card would be banished instead of just sent to the graveyard. And at the end of the turn, you would get a spell card from your graveyard added to your hand. Yes, I know that is the errata of the card. It is no longer the powerful, broken Dark Magician of Chaos some old school players would be used to, but it's still powerful. You could still run this, and honestly, 28 attack that can banish is still nothing to scoff at. So that about does it for the monster lineup. And now we're going to go into the spell lineup. Going to run 3 copies of Pot of Duality. You reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You pick one card you would like, shuffle the others back in your deck, and you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn. You can't special summon the turn you activate this card, which at first glance may not seem very good in the deck that special summons a lot, but you always want to see this card first turn because you never special summon on your first turn anyway. So this is a card you definitely want to see in your opening hand. Very, very good card. Next up, we have 2 copies of Dark Magic Veil. You pay 1,000 life points and you summon a Dark Spellcaster from your hand or graveyard. Works very, very well with Dark Magician Girl, and Dark Magician of Chaos. And since they all need tributes to be normal summoned, which who normal summons anymore? I mean, 2 tribute summons outside of Monarch, sorry. That's why you have Dark Magic Veil. I almost said Dark Magician Veil. I don't know why, but very, very good card in both this deck and a Dark Magician deck once we get the cards out. And also 2 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon. Now, I don't run Twin Twisters in this deck, mainly because of the fact that you're already going to be discarding your hand through so many other ways. So I figured the additional Twin Twister wouldn't really help, because then you have nothing to discard with your monster effects. So, 2 copies of MST. Just to get rid of back row, because this deck does not like back row. No deck really likes back row, but especially Dark Magician Girl does not like back row. And also, I am running 2 copies of Monarch Stormforth. Now, a Monarch card here may not make much sense at first, but hear me out on this. Say that you have no monsters on your field, right? And you have something like a Kiwi Magician or a Dark Magician Girl. These are the only monsters you have. During your turn, play the Monarch Stormforth, and then you tribute one of their monsters to normal summon. So you can normal summon a Dark Magician Girl by tributing one of their monsters with Monarch Stormforth. Does not have to be a Monarch card, it can be any card whatsoever. So very, very good card in the deck indeed. And just gonna take advantage of it now because we have a ban list that is supposed to be coming relatively soon. Don't know for sure, but once it does, I can almost guarantee they're gonna hit Monarchs hard. So definitely want to take advantage of the Stormforth while we still can. And next up, I run 2 copies of Secret Village of the Spellcasters. Now, this one is in Spanish, but in case you guys didn't know, there are certain foreign language cards that you are allowed to run, like say Spanish, German, Italian, just to name off some examples. But no, nothing Asian like Japanese, Korean, Chinese, those you cannot play. But stuff like this is fine. You have to go online to check everything you want for sure as far as language goes, because some foreign language cards are legal to play. You just gotta have the right translations for them, and some of them are actually much cheaper than the English version of the card. So just a little something I recommend if you're trying to save up money. But this card is really, really good, but it's kind of like a double-edged sword. What it does is that if you control a spellcaster and your opponent does not, your opponent cannot activate spell cards, which hurts just about any deck that does not have spellcasters. But if you don't control any spellcasters, you cannot play any spells whatsoever. So, like I said, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because let's say if neither one of you control spell cards, now you or your opponents. If you don't, you cannot play spell cards, but your opponent still can't play spell cards. So that's why it's very, very important. Even though it's a really powerful card, you do have to be a little smart with this one. Because if all your spellcasters get destroyed, then you're kind of stuck. Because any other way you would have to special summon spellcasters are mostly going to be spell cards, which you cannot play. So, again, incredibly powerful card, but you have to play it carefully. Can't just go willy-nilly with it. And also just 1 copy of Terraforming just to search out the Secret Village of Spellcasters. And last card I'm running in here is Magical Dimension. Magical Dimension is actually a really, really good card for the Dark Magician Girl decks. Because what it does is you can only activate it if there's a face-up spellcaster type monster on the field. You tribute 1 monster. Does not have to be the spellcaster. Let's say if you have a spellcaster and another monster that's not a spellcaster, you contribute that monster. And also you can special summon 1 spellcaster from your hand and then destroy 1 monster on the field. So if there's like a really troublesome monster on the field, just play this card, tribute 1 of yours, special summon a spellcaster, and destroy 1 of theirs. And yeah, since it's a quick play, you can even play it during the battle phase as well. So very, very good there. And now for the trap lineup, going to be running 2 copies of Magician's Defense, one of the new trap cards that we got from the movie packs. It's a pretty good card. While you control a spellcaster, all damage you take is halved. So that's a very, very nice plus right there. but when his card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, or not even destroyed, if it's just sent to the graveyard in general, do anything, you can special summon a spellcaster type monster from your graveyard. So, very, very good card indeed, in my opinion. And next up, going to be running 2 copies of Dark Renewal. Now, very, very good card. This came out actually in the last Yugi's Legendary Dex, which we are getting a second Legendary Dex come October, which I'm super excited for that one, because that is when we are finally getting the Eternal Soul card. Very, very good card for Dark Magician that we have not had for years. But enough rambling. What this does is whenever your opponent normal special summons a monster, you activate this, you tribute one of your spellcasters and that monster they just summoned, and you search your deck or graveyard for a dark spellcaster and you special summon it. So, give you a little example here. Say you have a Chocolate Magician Girl and your opponent just special summoned like a big beefy 3000 attack monster. You play Dark Neural, set this and that 3000 attack monsters to the graveyard, and you could special summon any dark monster. So it could be Dark Magician, it can be Dark Magician Girl, or it can be Dark Magician of Chaos. That's right, you can even get up to a DMOC for free for just Dark Renewal. And sending your spellcasters to the graveyard isn't necessarily a bad thing, because you have more than plenty of ways to get them out of the graveyard, like Dark Renewal, for example. Very, very good example of how, because it's not just from your deck, but it's from your graveyard as well, so there are more than enough ways to get your spellcasters out of the graveyard. And for my last 2 traps, I run 1 copy of Magician's Circle and 1 copy of Solemn Warning. Solemn Warning, just obvious reasons, pay 2,000, negate a summon. Definitely very good. And Magician's Circle, whenever a spellcaster declares an attack, can be your opponent's spellcaster or your spellcaster. Activate it and you special summon a spellcaster with 2,000 or less attack from the deck. But the downside is if your opponent has spellcasters that meet that requirement, they can do that as well. But you mainly use this for yourself, so to get out a Dark Magician Girl, because the attack is 2,000. And if you happen to have any Dark Magicians in the graveyard, then the attack is boost. But since it's in the deck, it's still 200, so you can still summon it with that. So very, very good card. And that about does it for the main deck. Now going to go into the extra deck. Going to run 1 copy of Aegon Sea Castrum, just because I have DMOCs in the deck. A pretty interesting card. Detach material and be able to banish one of your opponent's face down extra deck monsters to gain that attack. Pretty good. And also I run 1 copy of Ebon Illusion. I am proud to say this is the original Show and Jump promo and not the Shining Victories one. I actually managed to get this card when it was still low, like in 10 bucks. So very, very happy I got that. 1 copy of number 11 Big Eye and 1 copy of Red Eye's Flare Metal Dragon. Big Eye just goes with a very good, very, very old saying of mine that I like to say. For Yu-Gi-Oh, if you can't beat them, steal them. So that's just why Big Eye's there, very good rank 7, and also Red Eye's Flare Metal, just because he's very, very good as a defensive play. He cannot be destroyed while you have any Xyz material attached to him, and your opponent burns for 500 for every card and card effect they activate. So very, very good there. And for rank 6s, I run 1 copy of Photon Strike Bouncer and 1 copy of Naruto the Moral Leader. Now, this card is pretty good, considering how once during either player's turn, if your opponent activates a spell or trap, detach and negate that effect. And also, Ebon has the cool effect until where he needs 2 level 7 monsters to Xyz summon, or he can use a rank 6 spellcaster Xyz monster to have attached, and then you still get the material there. So that's why it's very good as well. Photon Strike Bouncer I have in here just as another rank 6. I mean, it's not bad. I just really wish we had the Magical Girl Xyz, but wonder when we are going to get that card. But, oh well, we got to work with what we got for now. And Photon Strike Bouncer isn't really a bad card, because once per turn, either player's turn, when a monster effect is activated on your opponent's side, detach, and you negate it, and you burn them for 1,000. So, it's not a bad card at all. Never said it was. It's just I would rather have the Magical Girl just to go with the spellcaster theme. But again, Photon Strike Bouncer isn't bad. Not a bad card whatsoever. And next up, just for my rank 5, I run 1 copy of Shark Fortress. It's not a bad card. You can't target monsters for attack except this one, so very, very good right there. And once per turn, detach a material from this card and target a face-up monster you control. It can make a second attack. So just play this, detach, target a monster, and they get attacked twice. So you would definitely want to do it to a big monster like Dark Magician of Chaos, for example. So, good card in that. Now for my rank 4s, I actually run a lot of rank 4s in this deck just because they're really, really good in the deck. So I run 1 copy Dark Rebellion, 1 copy of Castella's Skyblaster, 1 Performance Trapeze Magician, 1 Gaga Cowboy, and 1 Daigusto Emerald. Now honestly, I would never run anything Dark Magician related without Daigusto Emerald, just because it's really, really good. You detach and you can special summon a normal monster from your graveyard, or detach and shuffle 3 monsters from your graveyard into your deck to draw a card. So I run Daigusto. Gaga Cowboy is just to burn your opponent. If it's in defense position, detach, burn your opponent for 800. Get sometimes winning the game right there. Now Performance Trapeze Magician, since basically everything in the deck is a spellcaster, definitely not hard. It's almost like Shark Fortress, was it? Yes, Shark Fortress. Blech. Forgive me for that. It's almost like Shark Fortress, to where you can detach and target a monster you control and get attacked twice. But the only thing is that it gets destroyed at the end of your turn. Which, again, sending monsters to the graveyard is not a bad thing. There are plenty of ways to get them out. Also, with this card, as long as he's here, you do not take any damage that is less than this card's attack. So he is very, very good in that aspect. And these two are just common staples in anything that runs level 4s. Castell, just detach 2, shuffle a face-up card from your field to the deck. And Dark Rebellion just helps with OTKs, detach 2, target a monster, half their attack, and this card gains that attack. So just very, very good stables overall. Now run 2 rank 3 cards, 1 Wind-Up Zen Mains, and 1 Phantom Knights of Breaksword. Now, I actually got 2 packs of Wing Raiders not too long ago, and in those 2 packs, I pulled 2 of this card. I am not even kidding you guys. And I kicked myself so hard because a friend actually got those for me, and I decided to open them just for fun. I really wish I would have filmed that, but this card, very, very good overall. When it would be destroyed, detach, and it's not destroyed, and if you use that effect, you can target a card on the field and destroy it. And also, this card right here, you detach, target 1 card you control and 1 card your opponent controls, destroy them, and which is usually going to be like a spellcast or something like that. But once again, discarding and destroying your spellcaster, sending them to a graveyard is not a bad thing, because there are a plethora of ways to get them back. So that's why. And final card I run is 1 Gachi Gachi Gantetsu. Whenever you XE summon this, it's always going to be in defense mode. And all of your monsters gain 200 attack and defense for each material on this card. Though whenever this card will be destroyed, you could detach a material to prevent him from being destroyed. So, nice little stall there overall. Forgive me. And there you guys have it. There is my Dark Magician Girl deck. Now again, if you would like to run the fusion version of this deck with Ida Tamayo, go right ahead. We are getting the reprints of that stuff pretty soon. It's just the only reason I didn't wait until then is because I don't feel it makes it better. I just feel it's a different way of running it. Again, I'm not saying it's bad whatsoever, because granted, the Dark Magician Girl fusion is pretty decent, and so are the 2 Dark Magician fusions. Dark Flare Knight does not count. I cannot believe they ever made that. And that's me as a big Dark Magician fan saying that, so yeah. Yeah, that's how you know they didn't do a good job. So anyways, that does it for the deck profile. If you guys like this profile, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you are new to the channel. And stay tuned, because I will be doing my best to get you guys some Dark Illusion content really, really soon, and I cannot wait. Whew! This has been Magician's Descendant, and I will catch you duelists later.